just the frames. Got keys to kingdom, unlocking chains. Sober the podcast, open up your brains. Sober the podcast, let's get it, man.
Welcome back to another episode of Sober the Podcast with your co-host, CJ. We got a special guest for you today. Bradley Saxon in the building. Hey, what up, baby?
Building, baby.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Man, so good to be here.
But we're back with part 2, man, of your testimony and your story of what God's done in your life, man. And I don't want to jump too far ahead because I think we might have a little bit last episode, but...
Well, I think what we determined last episode is that we did talk a little bit ahead, but then we realized, man, like some of the details matter.
Yeah, the details do matter.
And I think that it matters concerning people with similar struggles to really identify with there are people who struggle like me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the details matter concerning, like, anything other than winning the confidence of another alcoholic and addict.
That's right.
So that they, because one of the things I've learned in any struggle is it helps me to accept that I have this struggle when I get into a group of people that are very vulnerable about talking about their struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that the details matter just so that the listener can say, man, that's me.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I mean,
me.
I've had people tell me along the way, like, why do you talk so much about the problem? And I said, man, it's just because I'm trying to identify with people. Like, you say it a lot, and it's very true. People don't identify with our successes. Like nobody up there in our rehab facility right now identifies with being years of sobriety.
Nah,
You know what I mean? Like,
it's the frailties.
Yeah, it's the weaknesses, the struggles. And so, like, we're not trying to set aside God to talk about the problems. Like, we're trying to identify that, hey, man, we've struggled like you. Hey, ma'am, we've struggled like you. And it's not like that anymore because God's healed those things,
But we also equally believe until such an understanding is established, little or nothing can take place.
I feel like nothing can take place.
Yeah, because I think the thing that we're trying to establish is this bond that is one of the most powerful bonds that you can have, which is the bond of suffering.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is one reason why we don't help a very broad, I don't know if the word
We don't
sense.
have treatment for everything.
Well, it's not like we're not a place where we help people with the general idea of sin.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we don't help people that do not have a drug and alcohol problem because we believe that there is something to be said about identification.
Yeah.
And having that kind of culture is part of allowing these men to find what they found.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it. Yeah.
And so, that's why we target addiction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's other aspects to that, but we don't know how. Well, I'm not saying we don't know how to help those people, but the people that we feel anointed and God has called us to help are people that have struggled with drug and alcohol addiction, right?
And I mean, even if you take it into a different sense, like, I don't feel like, especially if you weren't church growing up, I don't feel like you initially walk into a church building because your day's great.
No,
I
you
feel
don't.
like you know what I'm saying? Like, you walk in there because you feel like there's something there that maybe you're missing that maybe they can teach you or can help you with.
I've always said most people come to Jesus because of something they need.
Yeah.
But the deal is once you walk with him and fall in love with him, then everything changes. But most people come to him first for what he can give them.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so most people end up in church because they're drugged there or because they're broken and they're seeking relief from their situation, But I've always thought, man, truthfully, CJ, is there's two facets to that, and then we'll jump in because we preaching real good right now.
Saying, we'll do part 2 next time,
well,
John.
here's the thing, man. It's very peculiar because I feel like sometimes the people who were never raised in church that don't have a conception of God tend to do better.
They do.
Because there's nothing to have to renovate.
Yeah.
There's no tearing down.
Yep.
There is no having to relearn something that you learned wrong first.
That's right, man.
But on the other side of the coin, I have also equally found that people who have been churched and have an idea of God, sometimes those experiences become the roots that pull them back.
Yeah. I agree. And I think that's me.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I do.
And so you know, man, I just think that it's funny how there's no monopoly on God.
Nope.
Like people have their own experience, walk their path out, and you know, it's not a matter of how God is going to do it. It's a matter of I'm just excited that He's doing it, and that I got a front row seat.
That's right.
To the story that He's writing in the earth. You know, because what an amazing thing to watch Him unveil what is already written in a heavenly realm, in an earthly realm.
He just reveals it.
And we on the front row seat.
Yeah, he just reveals it, man after man.
What did C.T. Stud, or I can't remember, I think his last name was Stud, C.T. Stud.
You said C.J. Stud?
No, you are Stud, but... I'm talking about another cat. He's been dead, but he said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly, but he just talks about how he don't want a rescue mission inside the sound of a church bell. He wants it a yard away from hell.
That's it. I think that was him. I think you're right.
But I'm just saying, dude,
man.
that's what we do.
Well, I mean, we are triage, man. Like we're not, we're the guys, man, that truthfully, that God's just chosen for whatever reason, I don't know, but and anointed to do work, and it's triage work, man.
Yeah, and it's not that we're saying that all the other work isn't necessary.
It's just
we're
triage,
just saying you don't
bro.
want us to do the other work.
Well, I don't no,
like you don't want to come to me for marriage counseling. Could I do it? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be as excited about that as I am this because it's not what I feel God has called me to do.
It's not the passion, man.
And I'm just thankful for the freedom to not feel like I've got to be everything to everybody.
That's right, man.
You know what I'm saying?
It.
Like I'm thankful that I know the lane that God has put me in. And the greatest thing I could do is not try to be strong where I'm weak.
Yeah.
Really, it's really accepting my weaknesses, letting God be made strong, and beating down the path that He's put me on.
Yeah,
because
man.
there's many other people that have different stories that are strong where I'm weak, and they're doing what they're doing very well.
Yep.
And if I have somebody, like, you know, when I get somebody that's, you know, needing marriage counseling or, you know, needs this or that, like there's people in the community I've built relationships with that I send them to because I know that they're going to benefit them way more than I'm going to benefit them, you know?
Well, I think it was Miles Monroe said it like this. It was powerful when I heard it. He said, your ministry or whatever God has called you to do in this earth will be birthed over what He has allowed you to overcome. And
so
that's
in
where
other
you
words,
find your
ministry comes from your pain.
Yes, man.
Well, it's like the lady in 2 Kings that is a widow.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the story? She's a widow.
Yep.
I think her husband had died.
Mm-hmm.
They had a debt to pay to the Jewish culture.
Yep.
And in those days, they would come and take your kids.
Yep.
And they would work the debt off.
That's payment. Yep.
And so she's going to God. And in that time, Elisha was the representation of God.
Yep.
And he comes and says, what do you have in your house?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I got nothing at all except for a jar of olive oil.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that a lot of us who have a jar of olive oil, which comes through crushing, right? Because olive oil comes through the crushing of olives.
Yeah.
Like, I think that we mistake the brokenness as nothing at all.
Yeah.
But he's saying that if you would put the thing you think is nothing at all in the hands of God, it can become your ministry.
Everything you need.
Dear Lord.
That's it. Bro,
Come on, somebody.
Yeah, let's go.
Come on, somebody.
Let's go.
Like, there's somebody under the sound of our voice right now that don't have nothing to offer God.
That's it.
There's no money. There's nothing. There's no pot to piss in.
Or a window to throw it out of.
A window to throw it out of.
And that's us, man.
And they're trying to establish some credit or some type of notch on the belt of God through a lot of good things. And I just want you to know, man, that if you can offer Him a contrite heart, a brokenness, it is a great offering.
It's the only thing I had to offer at the end.
Well, that's, you know, if all you have is your identification of your spiritual bankruptcy apart from God, you're in a very good place.
God, you are, bro.
What God can do with that.
Well, I mean, dude, Jesus made it so clear in His word. He said, man, I did not. The Pharisees are bucking on Jesus, man. And He said, listen,
They
dude,
knucking and bucking?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Like Bone Crusher.
You think, nah, that ain't Bone Crusher.
It ain't, is it?
Nah, that's a little
Crumb.
scrappy.
Crime Mob?
Nah, I don't. Little Scrappy.
But somebody else on that song.
It
too.
might be Crime Mob.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm saying, you think they were listening to the Crime Mob?
Yeah, they did. I mean, the Pharisees were.
If you buck, boy. Come on, give me a little.
Hey,
yeah, no,
if you buck, boy. Because I'm a get. Oh, hold on.
Oh yeah. That's Scrappy, bro.
But the Pharisees.
I'm a pistol holding. I'm a pistol.
You gonna say something on accident? You gonna stop?
Yeah.
But the Pharisees, man, they're coming to Jesus, and he's like,
They
listen.
stepping to him.
Yeah, he's like, listen. I did not come to this world for righteous folks.
Yeah.
I came to this world for sick folks.
Well, that's why it's better to be broken and know you need healing than to be broken and think you're well.
Yes, man.
Yeah, that is the deal.
What a delusion to not have a life union with God and think you're okay.
Yeah, well,
The greatest delusion we could have.
Yeah, well, that's why we're thankful for drug addiction, because it's the thing that busted our arrogance.
Busted my head, dog.
That made me realize
Yeah.
I need God.
Yes, man.
Imagine the folk out there right now that can't benefit from God if we preach him as somebody that's going to bring them something, because they got everything.
Do you want to hear something crazy? I had a guy the other day. He said, "Man, I'm jealous of y'all." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I'm jealous of y'all because I want what y'all have, but I know that I don't have the pain that you guys have experienced to be able to surrender to the way that you guys have." And not that he can't have the same experience with God. None of those things are what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you can't fake it if you got it, and you can't fake it if you don't.
Desperation is something that is a gift from God. Man.
Yeah.
And, dude, like I was saying, like, everybody under the sound of our voice, drug addict or not drug addict, are sinners.
Yeah.
And they need the same gospel.
Yeah.
But imagine having good-looking flesh to where you're able to be a productive member of society, and people on the outside looking in would consider you successful, but yet you don't know God.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we have to preach the unadulterated word of God, because these cats don't need nothing from God. Like, they don't need prosperity, right? They don't need this or that, right? They need to understand that I don't care how successful you are, what you're able to do during the week, that we're all born sinners. And we all stand as enemies of God. And one day, if we stand before God without being born again, that we will experience that wrath through eternal separation.
That's not that smoke you want.
Here's the truth, man. We all need Jesus.
Everybody,
man. What is it going to take for me to come to that conclusion?
Yeah.
Not only that I need him, but that I want him to start to get into every aspect of my life.
Yeah, bro. Well, I mean, most of the time in my life, but I've seen it all around me, that success becomes the noose that hangs us.
Yeah. So let's jump back to the future, into the time portal. What was that thing old buddy had in Back to the Future? You ever seen that, or was you born yet?
No. I've seen that. It's really good. Is it a nebulizer?
Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
It's the
something
car.
like that. Yeah, something like. That was a DeLorean. He hopped in the DeLorean, bro.
Well, Michael J. Fox, what was his name in that movie? Do you know?
Bro.
Okay, it don't really matter. Well, it'll come to. Do you know, John? Marty. And what was his friend?
Marty McFly.
McFly.
Yeah.
And the doctor's name? Dr. Brown. Anyway,
stud.
So they jump back into the future like we're going to do.
Yeah.
And I know that I remember talking about eventually, getting my wisdom teeth pulled and getting addicted to pain pills. But let's go back to probably like 1998.
Okay.
When I'm leaving middle school, going into high school. One of the biggest problems in my life, and that juncture I'd never used or I'd never drank, and we talked a little bit about this, was just the uncomfortability in my skin of always just feeling like I didn't fit in.
Yeah.
Like people were talking about me.
Yep.
I was overweight, I had real bad acne, and those things just really ostracized me from people.
Yeah.
And look, man, when you're born for community, and addiction separates you, disease, dis-ease, it's the thing that separates me from the normalcy of life.
Yep.
Man, like you just start to suppress emotions in your life, and you really just struggle. A lot of times you cry. A lot of times you're stricken by fear. And dude, when you don't really have relief, like at those times, I remember eating.
Yeah.
sports, things like that would just take my mind off my reality for a while, you know. But when I entered high school and I found drugs and alcohol, or towards the end of 8th grade, I had to be 13 or 14. You know, finding alcohol and getting that sense of,
and y'all know what we talking about.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in my brain recording the pleasure. You know, and at the time, dude, I've been raised in a place where my mom will knock if you buck.
Yeah. Yeah, Glenda was a beast.
Yeah, and so like she'd hit me with a belt. She'd hit me with a broom. It didn't matter. Whatever she could reach.
Yeah.
Comb.
Yeah.
Fly swatter. Anyway, some of that fear kept me sober because I didn't want the consequences. But the more the spiritual malady progressed, the more I started to not really care of the consequences if I could spend 2 hours getting high.
The pleasure outweighs
and removing the reality.
Yeah. Yeah, the pleasure always outweighs that, man.
Right. So as I got into high school, that's when I again started hanging out with our punk rock buddies, getting in the punk rock band.
Yeah.
And dude, really, the only thing at that point in my life was weed.
Yeah.
We would drink on the weekends, but the thing that we did was we smoked weed and Camel filters.
Yeah.
That's
Smell them now.
You know, but like here is what I think I failed to talk about, because I'd smoke weed, go to school, no problem, drink a little bit on the weekends, but there was no really, there wasn't not, I don't think I was, it was habit. Like, you know, because I'd do it on the weekends.
Kind of take it
and
leave
then
it.
I could go 3 or 4 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, you know, just to.
But you didn't obsess about it.
No, I didn't obsess about it. Now, over time, eventually, that's all you think about. But at that juncture, man, I'm smoking weed. And to be honest, when I first started smoking weed, like I was really scared and didn't want to get in trouble. And like the only reason why I did it was so that I didn't feel any more ostracized, you know?
Did y'all use eye drops back then?
Yeah. We always have Visine, dog. Because there was a couple of my buddies, you go in their house, man, like, and you peeled slam back.
Yeah.
Like, you got to find some way.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I didn't know if eye drops existed all the way back.
Oh, dang. We not that. we not.
bad.
I mean,
My
dude, you
bad.
talking 2000,
Yeah,
CJ. How old are you in 2000?
10.
10?
Yeah, I was 10. I'm just messing.
Yeah, I know you are.
I'm
but
just messing.
here's the thing, man. Really, my pain pill addiction and my, you know, I like, I'm not saying I didn't drink and smoke weed like addictively. But dude, like, life wasn't bad. Like, I'm not in and out of jail because of this stuff. Like, you know, I'm saying if maybe I got caught in some situations, I would have been.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not going and trying to sell my car for these things. You know?
How old are you right now?
I'm like 14,
Okay.
15.
Yeah.
Actually working at Catherine's Kitchen right here on Clemson Boulevard. A lot of people that are from this area would remember that.
Catherine's
I'd walk
Kitchen.
over to Scrooge's or get one of my buddies to, and we'd wait till somebody came up that would buy us liquor.
What'd you do at Catherine's Kitchen? Bus tables?
Yeah. No, it was a little tiny, so you did everything other
Whatever.
than cook.
Yeah.
And all my buddies in the band worked there. We all had different
did
schedules,
you?
and you could go in at 2 in the afternoon
Yeah.
on Saturday to 11, and there would be two people come in. But you go from 9 to 2.
Yeah.
You'd make $2,000. Not you, but the like that's
company,
how much
business they have.
business you would have. But Monday through Friday, you go in at 4 after school and say at 11, you might get 3 customers.
Yeah.
So imagine what we did with all that time.
Chilling in the back, smoking some weed.
Yeah. Just you and a friend. Here to sip on some hen. One thing leading. Oh, anyway.
Let the party begin.
Stop, drop, kaboom. Yeah, you getting me sidetracked over here,
Not
cuz.
bad, dude.
I mean, you a Chingy fan?
It's supposed to be fun.
You Chingy?
Yeah. I think he wasn't bad for about 2 years.
That's what people think about your
2
little
years.
Chingy is
For about 2 years.
Right there, right there.
Look your lips on your talking like that. You heard?
So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I can remember the first thing that I realized that I could potentially be in trouble with was Adderall. That was really the first kind of pill I took. Like,
But you weren't prescribed Adderall.
No.
Like you just got, like how'd that come about?
So I'm in like 11th grade,
Okay.
probably 16.
Okay.
Going in, I'll be 16. I had
Yeah.
a buddy of mine, Mark Ray. That was his name.
You said Lecrae?
No. Mark Ray.
Oh, Mark Ray. Okay.
I think that's it, Mark Ray.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had like a little piece of swag.
Yeah.
Like we called it swag, but it's
Yeah.
just like Mexican,
Yeah.
just doo-doo.
Yeah.
It wasn't really doo-doo, it was dirt.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I got this little blue Adderall,
Yeah.
10 milligrams.
10. Yeah.
I'll give you this for a blunt.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you should probably go to a doctor before you take something you don't know what it is. Okay?
Yeah.
But I didn't. And I swallowed this thing that morning.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, bro.
dude, I'm telling you, it was the greatest feeling I'd ever had in my life.
Yeah, dude.
And I started realizing I want to do my homework.
Yeah.
I want to do my test.
I'm super
I want
smart.
to do your test, his test, their test. Can I teach the class?
How
Do you
smart?
need me to clean this
Yeah.
toilet? Whatever you need, I'm in.
Yeah. Model.
Well, I found after that, I was like, dude, this is it.
Yeah.
Well, there was a guy that was in our band, played bass. His name was Will. His dad was a dentist. Well, I found out over time that he got 3 months of Adderall 20s.
Bless him.
And he didn't take them.
Oh.
And he liked to drink cold beer.
Yeah. Cold beer.
He sold them to me 50 cents a piece.
Wow.
So the latter part of my 11th year and 12th grade year, I'd probably ended up taking 4 to 6 20s a day.
Scootered.
Yeah, I mean geared.
Geetered.
I mean just,
Geetered.
but I can remember that was the first thing that I can remember saying I'm in big trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm actually, when I don't have these things, I'm not a pleasure to
I'm
be
not
around.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time I remember not having something
Yeah.
and something being wrong with me.
Yeah.
Like, why am I angry?
Yeah.
Like, why I feel on the edge. You know, and then when I would take one, all that would go away.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand addiction. I'm
Yeah.
an addict. But I understood that something ain't right when I don't have these things.
Yeah, man.
You know, and eventually what you find is as you take that many and you start to come down, you got to drink to get rid of the edge because it's a weird feeling.
It is.
You know?
I mean, you probably took 3 months of 10 milligram Adderall, 20 milligram Adderalls in probably a month.
Well, eventually it progressed to 30 milligram time release, and I would just pop the capsule and snort the beads.
Yeah.
It's a wonder I didn't have a stroke.
It's a wonder.
I'm dead serious.
Yeah, it's
Like, dude, I would take as many of those a day as I could, bro.
a wonder your heart didn't explode.
Yeah. But that was the first thing. Because, see, I never took pain pills in high school.
Yeah.
That was the one thing in high school that I realized I had a problem with.
Yeah.
Because up to that point, it was drink a little bit, but it was just smoke weed.
Did you still sleep? Did you still go to sleep at night? Or sleep just kind of became something maybe I'll do whenever
Well, I think you did eventually sleep. You know, like you could, you know, I didn't just start right off taking 420s, but by the end of 12th grade, you know, dude, like as many as I could get, when I get them, I'm taking them.
Yeah.
And this is around the time that I meet my oldest 2 children's mom, right? And so I want to talk about this because this is an area of my life that, apart from drugs and alcohol, really in sobriety almost took me out. And a lot of people's always like, Bradley, you talk about relationships. And, you know, I know there's a lot of people in early recovery that get mad at me when I talk to them about the reality of these dependencies and, you know, how relationships are things that we shouldn't be casual about.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I do that is because of the truckload of pain that has brought me for a decade.
Yeah.
You know, my first decade in recovery, not quite a decade, probably 8-ish years. Dude, this was an area that I never really surrendered to God.
Yeah.
And dude, it almost destroyed me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't drinking or using, bro. Like these afflictions or toxicity in relationships isn't created by drugs and alcohol. The drugs and alcohol help me continue to do these things and not feel as guilty
And shameful.
and regret
Yeah.
the things that I do to people because I am all about me. You know what I'm saying? And so this particular young lady was in a relationship, but dude, like most people, and let me say it in the most G-rated way, mistake love for attraction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's be honest. Most teenagers, if you're not careful, are going to be in relationships because of the way a girl looks.
Yeah.
How pretty she
Yeah.
is. Nice body. And this seems to be the foundation through which I decide
Yeah.
that I want to be in a relationship with a person. And I'm telling you right now that love is not attraction. Attraction is not love. Sexy has a shelf life.
Yes, it does.
And so I'm seeing this person and I'm saying, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are, because of my attraction, I'm willing to hurt or do anything I can to get what I want.
Yep.
And that's what I did, bro. I came in between her and a person she had been with for several years just to get what I wanted.
Yeah.
And you could imagine how that ended.
And you were sober. Were you sober?
No,
you weren't sober.
No,
then.
this was in 12th grade. I was doing that Adderall deal.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, the Adderall helps me to be extremely selfish and to hurt people and feel no remorse.
Nope.
That's why eventually you can't be sober long, because you start getting those feelings back.
Yeah.
And those pictures and images of things you've done to people, you instantly want to find a way to numb that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And so, dude, eventually I get in between them, they break up, we start dating. But, like, look, dude, here's what I know. If somebody will do it to them, bro, eventually they going to do it to you.
Yep.
And that's what happened. But eventually, because you become so addicted to the person, it doesn't matter what they do. Eventually, you can't leave even though you want to because of your dependency on them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And the fear just comes from the people that are getting in the way of what you put in your life to make you okay.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? And that's where character defects start to rise. You start to say things to people you don't mean, or use things to hurt them to make you feel better than, to try to control the situation.
bro.
You know what I mean?
And it's all just to protect ourselves.
Yeah, but, dude, I was so driven by insecurity and so driven by the pursuit of these rewards, independently of God, that, I brought 2 kids into this world that I don't even really know how to say it. I brought kids in the world as a kid.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it was this idea of, if this happens, maybe I won't lose them. I mean, think about how far from reality those thinking is as a 16 and 17-year-old kid that's so dependent upon a relationship, fear of losing it, that I would want to make this thing happen so I don't lose them.
So you don't,
And I'm going to tell you right now, that is very selfish.
I think that happens a lot more than people want to talk about, though.
Yeah, but I mean, let's talk about it, because, it's very selfish. Because
imagine how insecure I could be as a man to want to impregnate a girl unbeknownst to her, to have some type of permanent connection to her, because I'm so insecure that she's going to leave me.
Or beknownst to her.
Yeah, or.
Is that a word, beknownst?
It is. I think so.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, whether it's doing it without her knowing, or you two actually thinking this is a good idea, shows why most people should be careful in the dating process and setting boundaries, because looking back now, how our thinking was so far from reality and had no truth, and we had no counsel in our life, that we were just doing at that moment what was right in our own eyes, brought kids into this world that have had to struggle independently of mom and dad in a solid household because of our emotional decisions, because we were living for the moment, because we were in love.
Yeah. And we never can play the tape through, because first of all, when you're so young, you're so ignorant, you don't know. Ignorance is your ultimate enemy at all times. You just don't know. And man, like you're literally setting kids up for a life of misery, man. Like, and if they don't find God, that's just what it's going to be for them. But like, the most selfish thing I ever did was bring a kid into the world. And I was in full-blown addiction, and just like you were. And, fortunately, my daughter doesn't have to live with a drug-addicted dad anymore, but she could have.
Oh, for sure.
And fortunately, my son doesn't have to. But a lot of that, like, let's just be honest, a lot of that was like, I don't want her, who is my wife now, but I don't want her to leave. And I know a way.
You feel like in that moment, this is a good idea.
Yeah, because if she ever finds out who I really am, like when my representative ain't working for me no more, or somebody passes her by at work, and she sees that maybe, hey, this little living situation ain't the best thing, and decide, nah, you can't leave now.
Well, here's the reality.
Like, that's how we think.
Well, here's the reality. May or August of 2021, 17 graduating high school with a baby mama that's 6 months pregnant at my graduation.
6 months.
And like, here's the truth. We can't be around each other because her dad has a restraining order on me.
Yeah. Why? Let's talk about it.
Well, number one, when he found out she was pregnant, he threatened to shoot me with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And one day I went by there to see her. I can't remember. I'm so bad with timelines. But like, I jerked the screen door off, you know? And like, he had broke his leg, and like, he's hobbling out there like he's gonna get me, and I'm just like making fun of him, you know? Yeah. And they got a restraining order on me. But here's what I remember, man. With that all being my life, because all my eggs was in this relationship, my identity was found in this relationship, that when her dad excluded us from seeing each other, I remember this is about the same time one of the guys in my band got $25,000.
Ooh.
Like, he was something about when he was a baby, his mom had a very bad car wreck. I think she was actually killed in the car wreck. His grandparents raised him, but once he turned a certain age, he got so much money a year, and then when he turned like 25, he got it all.
Yeah.
And I can remember this was about the time he moved out from his grandparents, got his own place, and every day was a party. And I can remember hating the way that I felt in my own skin, because now I don't have the source in my life to provide me with happiness and joy and all this other stuff that I'd look for in it. That I just started going down there and just staying for weeks. Yeah. And eating ecstasy, smoking crank off tinfoil, and just not sleeping for days on end. Just to numb the pain.
The rejection.
Now, here's the truth about this. I was the one getting all the ecstasy because I had a good friend of mine I grew up with. He was actually my cousin. I was getting it. But I was having to tell the guy that had the money that was buying it that I had money. Here's the dishonesty that comes with promoting our agenda, because we're selfish and we learn to lie to keep things in place so that we can benefit from it. And so I'm telling this guy, like, look, dude, keep me high. Yeah. I'll get this money when I turn 18, because I'm not even 18 yet. Yeah. And I'll pay you back. Yeah. Well, here's the truth. I don't have any money. And I'm not going to get any money when I'm 18 because I'm lying to you. Yeah. But I'm willing to break a relationship with a good buddy of mine that I've been doing life with for years to get rid of this pain to the point where I know that it can't last forever, because I'm going to eventually
be exposed.
But I'm willing to jeopardize this entire relationship if for 6 weeks I get to get high every day. Yeah. And here's the truth, man.
It's not a good trade, is
Here's the truth. The money started slowing down. I dipped.
Yep.
Well, that same guy came to my house in Pendleton one day. Yeah. And I seen him. I told my dad, I'm going to hide in the closet. Well, back then in my bedroom, my mom would like fold all the this is crazy. She would fold all her blankets up. I ran and got in the closet, hid under the blanket. Sent my dad, who has had emphysema for 10 so years, sick, to the door, and all I could hear is this tussle, and it was like, oh, no, where's the... It ain't none of those. Anyway, it was just beep, 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 like just cuss word, cussing him out. Yeah. And he tried to force his way in, and somehow my dad got the door shut. But like, this is the consequences for my dishonesty. Yeah. I'm putting now my dad in a place to be at risk, right? Yeah. And so this is, dude, I'm 17. I don't get sober till I'm 21. Could you imagine what the next 4 years of my life, 4.5 years of my life look like? And I haven't, at this juncture, I haven't even got my wisdom teeth out, so I haven't found pain pills.
Yeah. You just been on the
Like
ups.
I've just been like taking anything and everything I can. There's no this idea of you're going to end up addicted to this thing, you know?
Yeah.
I've had experiences with Adderall, but like over time, dude, I could switch the drug for this drug, and now I'm eating ecstasy every day, and I don't need Adderall. I must not have ever had a problem with it. So, but there's no kind of reality in my mind that, dude, you're going to end up in detox several times and have to go to rehab and be in recovery for your life because of the decisions you're making. And that's what I would tell the listener is that addiction, a lot of addicts may not have had to go to the extremes we did had they had a good enough reason to stop in the beginning because it was fun and there was no problems per se. But there comes a time where you continue to do it to where you warp your mind and body to the point you cross some imaginary line and there is no coming back from that. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, man, like eventually my daughter's born. Through this process, and I'm still got a restraining order against me. And
did you get to go to the hospital?
Yeah, so I remember like just being scared because I mean, there's a chance I go to the hospital, they call the law, and I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
Well, I can remember my mom and dad taking me up there, and my mom turned around and handed me a blue 10 milligram Valium. She said, "This will help you."
Yeah.
And I can remember taking that thing in with about 10 minutes. It did.
You're good.
We're going to see. We're going to see my daughter.
Yep.
Lo and behold, I got to meet her, but I didn't. You know, they didn't call the law on me. But that introduced me to another drug. That when I got tore up nerves, and I'm fearful. Dude, give me one of them green Mylan Valiums. I like the green ones better than the blue ones.
Be good, chilling.
Boom, just straight,
Instant.
just no worries. Didn't feel a thing, you know? And so eventually, man, you know, the restraining order got taken away. Tried to make it work with her. But, you know, my character defects, my need to be okay, eventually need something new. You feel what I'm saying? Like, this is why most people end up in and out of relationships because the newness wears off and the person can no longer give them what they put in their life to give them, so they go get another one. And so because of my selfish and self-centeredness, man, like, there was no really having a family.
Nah.
Because I was too worried about me. And I can just remember, man, being a tornado, bro. Roaring. Could you please spell that word for me?
Roaring. R-O-ring.
No, could you?
R-O-A-R-I-N-G.
I can spell it. I didn't mean spell it. Could you pronounce that word for me?
Roaring.
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 Like Rory.
Like Rory. McIlroy.
Roaring.
Roaring.
Through the lives of others.
Tornado.
Yeah, so anybody I come in contact with. Here's the truth. The best thing anybody could have told anybody that was in proximity to me.
Stay the hell away from me.
Run. Because I am coming to steal, kill, and destroy because I am an enemy of God. And my daddy is Satan. And I need you to know he's using me to destroy everything that I come in contact with. That's the truth. And I'm living at a trap house many a days because I'm just getting high and, you know, the same girl would try to come see me, and eventually, man, she got pregnant again. So I'm 20. By this time, I've already started being introduced to the lure tabs. I'm addicted to them. I'm taking them every day. And I'm 20, and I find out I got another kid. And I'm going a little ahead because within that 17 to 20 mark, I've already went to detox once because of pain pills. I've gotten so addicted to them, I don't got the money to buy them. Like, my family's getting them from the doctor. They're trying to give them to me, but they're using those to sell to get money to pay bills. So they can't give me but so many. They can't steal but so many. So I've already been to detox before I'm 20, and I've got a daughter. And by the time I'm 20, I'm headed back to detox and got another kid. Like, dude, my life is in shambles. I have no job. I'm living off the government. Like, I'm not working. My dad's paying for everything else I can't afford. Like, it's just, it's dysfunctional to a T. And I can see how people can end up in their life, end up being in that cycle for for their entire life.
The whole life, man.
Yeah, because, dude, eventually once you trade the truth for a lie,
Yeah.
and the lie becomes the truth, there is no differentiating the truth from the false. Like, your reality is the truth, and you begin to think everybody is doing what you're doing.
Yep. Alcoholic life seems to be the normal one. You know, like I think every one of us, towards the end of it, thought that like we were like this was our normal life. Like this, everybody is like this. That's what I thought. And what happened was I sought out and found people who were like me, because the truth is that my disease attracted people who were going to reinforce my negative behavior. So I was always trying to find somebody else that was like me, that did stuff like me. And so then I just thought that everybody was like me. No, just the few goobers that I found along the way were like me, because they just reinforced my inability to change.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you can't hang around folk that are doing good.
No.
Unless you're plotting to
Expose
steal
me, bro.
from
They're
them.
going to expose you.
But I'm not like hanging out with them because they my buddies.
Yeah.
Because
but we
they're
will
about
plot
to,
on you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to expose what needs to change in me.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't want you to expose me, man.
Yeah. And so this is about the time that, and we talked a little bit about this in the last episode, but I want to share one particular thing. I don't necessarily know that this is going to be just I think we're going to have to, because there's so much more.
That's fine, dude. We're here every day.
Yeah. Well, John's gracious. Shout out John Stebbins.
John Stizzy.
He's been very selfless in this journey of helping us transmit this message to people. And we probably will never know what it's doing, but I can guarantee you that it's populating heaven.
One day the Lord will tell us.
Now, I really believe, man, that this podcast has turned out to be something we never thought it could.
Nah, dude.
And I really, from the response I've got, could only imagine where it's reaching.
Yeah.
And it's beyond what we could ever think.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is about the time that I get my first or my second. Well, it was actually my third job. When I'm in high school, work at Catherine's Kitchen. Eventually, it shuts down. In 1999, I start working at Texas Roadhouse. But you know, dude, I have no work ethic.
Yeah.
My dad's always gave me stuff, so I've always had this thought in the back of my mind: I'll work. But like, even if I don't go to work, I'm still gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna buy it.
Yep.
And so, sometime at the end of sometime around 2000, maybe even the end of '99, I get this job at Carolina Malt Factory. But at this time, I got 2 kids. I've already been to detox once, and I'm already back on the pain pills.
Yeah.
Like, my idea of coming out of detox the first time, look, dude, I went in just like I did the last time. I drank like 16 ounces of codeine. At that time, there was no Roxy's. I'd probably ate like 10 Lower Tap 10s.
Yeah.
Went in on a Friday night, and I was high as crap. Woke up high on Saturday.
Yeah.
Manipulated the doctors, left on Monday morning. Just because my idea of detox was, if you get me off of these pain pills physically, I just need to go back and re-exert my will and be a better person.
Yep.
But I mean, the end of that week, I was taking pain pills again.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I thought this time I won't get addicted like that.
Yeah, I'll just take 2 today.
Right? And so I leave the detox thinking the pain pills are a problem and I won't take them.
Yeah.
I didn't never really think that by the end of the week I would be.
Yeah.
I thought I could just go buy a couple grams of cocaine and drink and have fun. Because I really thought that if I didn't take the pain pills, I wouldn't get addicted to nothing. I could recreationally use cocaine and drink alcohol. Like, I know that for somebody that's normal, thinks that is freaking the stupidest thing you could do.
Craziest
but I'm
thing.
going to tell you, that's what makes me addict.
Yeah.
Is because my mom believed that lie.
Yep.
And I would do it for a couple of days and realize I hate this.
Yeah.
I love
Pain pills.
the pain pills.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so
Yep.
I go back to that. So I'm working at Carolina Malt Factory, dude, and I don't want to say anything negative, but I'm working there because I can do drugs and work there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they don't care.
Sure.
They just need production. And over time during that year, I found methamphetamine. And I like it, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, I love pain pills, but I started to enjoy smoking meth. And, you know, it made me more productive.
Yeah.
You know, and I could mix them.
Yeah.
And, bro, I could freaking bag mops like a beast, son.
Yeah, dude. I know.
Well, I remember one day. Now, think about this, see. I mean, dude, we've already stated I'm like 20. Already been to detox, got 2 kids. Like, dude, this is when my dad is picking me up on Fridays and I'm signing my check over to him because he's putting pain pills on my table every morning.
Yeah.
My mom's already left him. Like, dude, like all this stuff that we talked about in the last episode. And one day I'm in there bagging mops with one of the buddies that was in my band. And we were listening to some type of rap music, but it was loud and it was provocative. You know, explicit lyrics. So the guy who owned the place, he literally wasn't being a jerk. He just came over and said, I don't care if y'all listen to this music, but just turn it down because not everybody else wants to listen.
Yeah.
Well, I was drunk, dude.
Yeah.
Because we'd go by over here on Edgewood Avenue at Thomas Food Mart. Back then, you could buy a 24-ounce beer, any brand, Ice House, Bud Light, 95 cents, $1 with tax. And, dude, we'd go by there at 6 in the morning and start drinking.
Yeah.
And by this time, it was right before the first break. And, I mean, what came out of my mouth is probably not suited for this.
You found out he was the boss.
Yeah. I literally looked at him when he told us to turn it down, and I said, F you.
Yeah.
And he turned around and went to the clock. That was back when you clocked in through a little stamp thing.
Your little card. Yeah.
And he clocked me out.
Yeah.
Told me to hit the road, Jack. Never come back.
Yeah.
No more, no more, no more, no more. And I thought to myself, how's he gonna run this place without me?
Yeah.
I mean, can anybody under the sound of my voice right now identify with the fact that he just fired me, and I can't believe it, because how is he going to run this facility without me?
Yeah, dude.
So I had this great idea the next morning I would come back to get my check. I was drinking already.
Yeah.
Pulled up with a 24-ounce beer in my lap.
Yeah.
Got my check, backed up, and I guess I didn't see the other boss's truck, and I ran right into it. Smashed the fender. Or what is the part that goes over the wheel? Is that the fender?
Yeah, fender well.
I mean, not. I'm talking just dismantled it, dude. Well, I thought there was a couple people, but I thought they loved me so much they would never tell it.
Yeah.
So I just left.
Yeah.
I'm going back to Pendleton because I'm in my child's mother's car. Well, I get this call from him, and he's trying to have a conversation with me, like, hey, man, what happened?
Yeah.
And I'm already offended.
Yeah.
I said, if you call me back, I'm going to call my lawyer. Like, bro, I ain't got a pot to piss in and throw it out. I ain't got no money.
Yeah.
I got a sack of, I got a little dime bag in my sock.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm toting a bag with about 3 24-ounce beers in it.
Yeah.
And that's all I got on a flip phone that my daddy's paying for, telling this man if he calls me back, I'm going to call my lawyer.
Had it figured out.
And this guy was so nice, man. This guy was always good to me. But it just shows when people inject something that interferes with needs getting met, you respond negatively. And it wasn't personal. It was the way that I defended myself from getting hurt. And I broke that relationship up with that. And here's the truth, dude. I would have went to jail, but my daddy paid $600 to get that fender refinished.
Daddy to the rescue again. Yeah. For sure.
Thus began one more year of excruciating pain. This last year from 2021. No.
2001.
No. This was 2000.
I mean, you went to rehab in 2005.
Yes, but this thus began the journey of 2 more trips to detox.
The detox,
Right?
Yeah.
Because one of the trips to detox, and this is how horrible I am with timelines, was in the time of me working for the mop factory. Because I worked there 2 years. So after a year, you'd get a week vacation. I took my week vacation, went to detox. Came back on a Monday, and a girl offered me a half a 7.5 Lortab.
Yeah.
I took it that day. By the end of the week, I was back at the doctor getting my cough syrup.
Yeah, no trouble. Yeah.
But thus, as we've jumped ahead a little bit because the timeline's so skewed for me, because number one, it was almost 20 years ago.
It's been a minute.
That last year, that last year was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And we don't even really have time to talk about that.
But
in
you
this episode.
you got it in quick. Like thankful for your life now, but like you got your like, bro, you were young. And a lot of damage took place in a very short amount of time in your life and your family's life.
Well, let me say this in conclusion to this episode. Here is a statistic that came to my mind out of nowhere as I'm reminiscing over this last soberversary. Because I think the next episode needs to be dedicated to that last year and a half before God intervened and my life started taking a different direction. Here is a statistic last week that I come up with. I had a good friend of mine I was running with. Actually, he was dating Trent Dubb's baby's mama.
Okay.
Died of overdose 2 months ago.
Okay.
The guy that I will talk about next season that I got all of my morphine pills from killed on 93, got hit by a car, dead. When I was in that trap house, when I had that restraining order against my kid's mom, and I was going out there lying about the money, the guy that owned the house that let us use the drugs overdosed, dead. When I was 2 years sober, went to his funeral. I got to thinking, everybody that I ran with that last year and a half are dead. They're dead, bro.
Yeah.
And here I am on the other side living to tell the other side of the story. So what am I saying? Bradley, what are you saying? I'm saying if you're under the sound of my voice right now and you're listening to this, you still have a chance.
Yep. Yeah, bro.
Just like probably they did many times. But there comes a time where you've got to realize the greatest lie that you can believe is I still have time.
Tomorrow.
Because tomorrow ain't promised.
Yeah.
And who's to say that I won't end up being that statistic if I keep rejecting the avenue God keeps putting in front of me to get me out of this life of addiction?
Yeah, man. That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the time is now.
Yep. Today.
Yeah, because here's the truth. Addiction is more powerful than you.
Yep.
Satan is more powerful than you. And if we don't take this life preserver that God is giving us in this season, who knows when that window of grace closes?
Yep. That's the truth, man.
And I'm telling you, man, addiction has one objective: to kill.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, its main objective. And it don't discriminate. Poor, rich, black, white, Chinese, woman, man. It don't discriminate. And its main objective is to kill.
Yeah.
It'll steal. But its main objective is to destroy and to kill you and everything around you. And I'm telling you right now, the greatest lie that you would ever believe is I'm young and I still got time.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you right now, the time is now.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Peace.
Shoo!